Hi gang, welcome to Behind the Rhinestones. I am your host, Dinah Dare, and here I interview some of the stars of the burlesque and cabaret world. As always, please do like, subscribe, and comment as I am always bringing new content for you. Today we are traveling over to Ireland to speak to the producer of Heart of Ireland Burlesque Festival. It is Miss Memphis Shell. Is your cup the Grinch? No, is it just green? Ghostbuster, oh, even
Ghostbusters.
better, even better. Hi Memphis, thank you so much for joining me.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I am also so excited. And oh, I know we were just chatting before here, but I am very jealous that your living room just looks so cozy right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you. I know this podcast isn't going out for a while, but it is a bit Christmassy looking at the moment.
It is, but I love it so much. How have you been? I have not seen you in a year and a bit. How have you been since then? Busy?
Yeah, been busy. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while actually. Yeah. Hopefully we'll see each other soon. But yeah, I've been kept going. Working muggle jobs and obviously producing and buying a house. Ta-da! You get a little sneak peek of it. Buying a house, which I don't know if I'd recommend, but I know we all need to do.
People I've known this year that have said they've moved house, and every time I'm like, I don't want to. I just don't.
Yeah, when you find your comforts, and then you have to move it all and then try and set it all back up, but also in a different way and try and find your homeliness in a new place. Like, it's a little bit scary, like I love my new house, but I still like kind of miss the house that I was living in before here. I still kind of like miss the view from the window and the summers in the back garden and the whole romanticized idea of that house, but I'll make memories here. It'll be fine.
It will be fine. And who's our two guest stars hanging about in the background?
Oh, so we have Rick and Louie here. So if they do bark during this, I'm very sorry. I've already explained that if I lean forward, they think I'm getting up to the door, and sometimes they'll bark, but they'll be quiet then again. So there's Louie. I don't know if you can
No,
see him.
you
That's
can't. He's.
Louie. Yeah. And that's Rick over there in the corner. We won't disturb him. He's the older boy, and he doesn't like being woken up.
I mean, same.
Yeah.
I also like smoking up.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, we'll dive right into it because we have many, many things to talk about because you're a busy woman. But we'll rewind all the way back to the start. So, how did you get into burlesque?
How do I get into burlesque? Yeah, the question I dread because I always feel like it's not as exciting as other people that I've heard like their backstories. But yeah, like I started 9, 10 years ago, and I had always kind of liked burlesque, the look of burlesque. Say before I knew what burlesque was, I loved the look of burlesque. Before that, obviously, all the old musicals, just how fantastic everything was, and the feathers, and just the makeup, everything was fab. And then I kind of discovered burlesque when I got like a little bit older, and I suppose a lot of people, Diva would be their gateway into like knowing what burlesque is, because I know that you have like the showgirls who are also burlesque, but like in your brain before you know what burlesque is, you're just like, oh, dancing. So yeah, I looked into burlesque kind of in my 20s and seen what it was and always really admired it and always wanted to do it. But I didn't start doing burlesque until I was like in my 30s. And it was kind of nearly I scared myself into doing burlesque because I had a realization that I was not getting any younger. And the fear was real at 33, where I was like, if you're going to do it, it's going to have to be now. So I just kind of gave myself a kick up the arse really and was like, right, you're going to have to look into this, see if you can do it. Like I'm from a small town in Ireland. You've been here, you have graced us on our stage. I'm from a small town in Ireland, and there's not a lot that kind of goes on in, I suppose, the smaller towns. It's more or less kind of in the cities. So trying to get into burlesque or finding things that were burlesque related. Um, he's gonna fight me. Say hi, Lulu. Find
He's
anything that
very
was
much
burlesque.
like,
Yeah, no, he has spotted a dog and he needs to protect me now, and that's just how he is. But yeah, there wasn't a lot of things available to me um to learn how to do burlesque. So the only thing I could do was kind of go online and see if there was anything close to me or see if I knew anybody that did burlesque. So I did my research online and I came across the Galway Burlesque Festival. This was completely new to me at the time. And I just reached out to the producers and I was like, I am not necessarily looking to perform. I am just wondering if you could tell me or if you could point me in the right direction of how I might get into burlesque, or if you know of any workshops that are happening that might just kind of help me dive in. And one of the producers of the Galway Burlesque Festival was Sheer Madness, and she had was very kindly messaged me back and she was like, oh hi, she was like, just letting you know there's workshops at this festival, but I'll just give you a short list of things that you should do, and if you follow these it should be, it should help you a little bit. And it's the usual, like, go to shows and go to workshops and reach out to producers to see if you can perform. But at this stage I hadn't even performed, I didn't even have a name. This was all just like very much like stepping stones into that world. So I took her advice and I did a workshop up in Dublin with Miss Polly Ray. She is from Soho, I think. She was doing a burlesque class on like the art of the tease. And so I was like, okay, this is like an introduction and this is something that I can do. So I went to the workshop. I actually met my longest burlesque friend. You would have met her, Scarlett Fantassel. So I met her at this workshop and she helped me, I suppose, kind of get in the groove of it because I was very nervous, because the fact I hadn't done anything like it before. You always think that there's like, big professionals that are there, or even the person that's teaching the class is looking at you kind of thinking, what are you doing here? And I was very nervous. But I did the class, and when the class was over, Scarlett Van Tassel had said to me, oh, there is a feather fan workshop coming up in a few weeks. You should go to it. And I was like, okay, I'll do that and we'll see what happens. I went to the feather fan workshop where I met Azaria Starfire. She was one of the headliners from my festival last year. And at the time, she was the producer for Miss Burlesque Ireland, and she was teaching the fan workshop. And she came over to me towards the end of the class and she said to me, where do you perform? And I was like, oh, I don't perform. I was like, I'm just getting into it now. I've never been on stage. And she was like, you should really apply for Miss Burlesque Ireland. And I was like, but I've never been on stage. I don't even have an act to offer you. And she was like, go home, think about it, apply. Even if you have something in your brain that you think will work, she was like, there's just something in your eyes that I know that you were going to want to do this. And I was kind of like, okay, I'll see what I'm going to do. So at the time, I was working on an act, and this is why I did the workshop. So I was working on an act to do because, excuse me, I was going to be performing at a fundraiser here in my hometown. And was out one night and drunkenly told the DJ that I was going to start doing burlesque. And he was like, oh, you could do it for the fundraiser. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it for the fundraiser. And before I knew it, my picture was on a poster. And like I didn't take it serious at the time, but then when I seen it was announced, I was like, I better put something together and put something together like really fast. So I did. I put an act together. It was like my first performance ever, and it was in front of everybody I knew in town, in a small little town. Now, I raised a lot of money because the fact that people came just to see me perform, but I was very, very nervous. I had like, just picked my name. It all happened very quickly. And I went on stage and I was like, right, this is it. The music started and I started performing. And like that, like many burlesque performers, if it's something that you've never done before, like the idea of taking your bra off is just like, I don't know if I can do this. So I was like, I had an ending without them, without the bra. I had an ending with the bra. And I was like, we'll see how comfortable I get. So I was on stage, did my performance, and I ended up taking the bra off. And then I just had my tassels, and I kind of like peeked the feathers and kind of gave a little shake. And like the audience lost their shit. And I was like, okay, so they like this, so I'll do it again. So I did it again. And I felt amazing after my first performance. And my boyfriend, now husband, was there, and like we're together so long, it's ridiculous. And he was the first person I wanted to find out what he thought. And he just said to me, he was like, you were a completely different person up there. And that's exactly what I wanted to hear. I wanted to kind of feel that I was after taking this name and then not being myself on stage, if that made sense. So yeah. So then I applied for Miss Burlesque Ireland, and I did get through. So I got into Miss Burlesque Ireland. I know. So I got into Miss Burlesque Ireland, and they did it in two stages. So there was like a semi-final and then there was a final. So I did the semi-final, you had to put two acts together. You had like a traditional and a neo act is the two acts that you need to do. And there was like a gown parade and all this. So this is what I went to for my second performance, was from a small little bar in Athlone onto this big stage up in Dublin with all these other performers who all knew each other. And this blow-in walks in going, hey, I've got a top hat. It was a big size top hat, just so you know. But I went in and I
Wasn't small,
performed,
wasn't a
and
tiny one.
I had thought about it. But yeah, so I performed at that. It was amazing. The feeling from being on stage was amazing. And then I hadn't got through to the semi-final. That was fine. I didn't care. I was like, I got experience and I managed to put two acts together in such a short time. It'll be fine. And then 2 weeks before the actual finals of Miss Burlesque Ireland, I was contacted by Azaria Starfire, and she had said that one of the finalists wasn't able to actually take part in the competition, and that basically scoring wise, I was the next person on the list, and would I be able to do it? And this was 2 weeks before the finals, but there was like another routine that you needed to have, which was a unique routine. So I had 2 weeks to get like a whole new act together. And I was like, do you know what? I'll make it work. It'll be fine. I'll do it. It'll be fine. So I did it, and I went back and I formed. I didn't win anything. It didn't matter. I mean, I had only started. I was under no illusions that I was going to place anywhere. But the experience was just fantastic. And then I met like probably some of my best friends that I have now, from being at Miss Burlesque Ireland. Like, it opened like so many doors for me, like, performing in Ireland for other shows. And but yeah, that is how Memphis came about.
Sorry, you started this with, meh, mine isn't really that interesting, and then just went into this like ridiculous story.
Yeah. I always think it's a bit long-winded, to be honest.
No, it's great. It's so good. Like, Jesus Christ, that would terrify me going from having done like a charity gig to, but I suppose if you're
Yeah, and
new, you don't really
actually the
like,
yeah,
yeah.
like the charity gig that I had done, like that was my first performance. And obviously after you do something like that, you want to have a few drinks. But I couldn't even stay out afterwards, because the day after was the actual photo shoot for Miss Burlesque Ireland. So I had to get up the next day, go to Dublin and do my photo shoot. And I had left part of my costume at home. So I literally had like just this ugly purple bra that I had worn up on the bus. But in fairness to everybody that was there, anybody that could give me like a piece of costume, there is like a producer. She was one of the producers of the Dublin Burlesque Festival, Epiphany. She was actually one of the judges last year at my festival, or this year at my festival. And like she helped so much. Like, even with when I got into the finals of Miss Burlesque Ireland, she reached out and she was like, I understand that, this is very short notice for you. If you want to come to Dublin, she was like, I have lots of costumes here that you can like pick from. And yeah, like, it was just like the amount of help that I got was just fantastic. So kind of me going forward and me like doing anything like my own festival, I try to always include or have them in a way, like people that have helped me along the way, like just to let them know that, it hasn't been forgotten. I'm not one of those that's just like, I am done with you, move away.
We're gonna move to you producing. I've got other things I want to ask you, but it just feels like a nice segue into you producing. So obviously now you produce shows, you produce Heart of Ireland Burlesque Festival, which in a very small set of years has become a very well-known, well-respected festival. You're getting applications from all over the world. Like I've seen some of the performers you've had on that stage. It's insane in a very positive way. When you started the festival, what was your aim or goal in having that festival?
Um, so like I said, like I'm from a small town, and uh, before COVID, say before COVID, like Ireland had so many festivals. Like we had the Belfast Burlesque Festival, we had Galway Burlesque Festival, the Dublin Burlesque Festival, and the Cork Burlesque Festival had like kind of just started as well. And it was just like, like the scene was like starting to thrive. It was really, really like, it was kind of like looking at like the way it is in the UK and stuff. It's kind of like, this is what we need. COVID hits, everything changes, everything changes, people change, it's like it was so strange. And then when we came out of COVID, like getting back into shows, um, part of me like had always thought like, I mean, the middle of Ireland, why wouldn't you want to come to the middle of Ireland to do a festival? And I like that imposter syndrome is a real thing for anybody, whether you're performing many, many years or you've only started, it's a real thing. Some of us are just better at faking that we don't have it, and that's basically it. But I always wanted to see if I could do it. And having my show, I was producing my show for a few years, Only After Dark, and then I think it was like after COVID, and just we all went through a phase of how we thought the world was going to go. We thought we'd never get back to this. And then after COVID, I was kind of like, okay, right, we are kind of getting back. It's going to take time. And I was like, one thing I did learn over COVID, like, I mean, I was an essential worker over COVID, so I didn't have time off. My life didn't stop. Everything kept going for me, except for obviously not performing. And I just like remember like I worked in this factory, and I remember just sitting there one night and I was like thinking to myself, if we ever get out of this lockdown, I am definitely going to do a festival and I'm going to make it work. And even if it only happens for 1 year and 5 people apply, this is what I'm going to do and it's going to happen. And then just, yeah, I just thought of the name. I was like, the Heart of Ireland. It's like geographically correct for here, for Athlone, like Westmeath. It's smack center in the middle of Ireland. And I just wanted to have a festival here in Athlone because it's not somewhere you know. And that is also why I didn't call it the Athlone Burlesque Festival, because people are like, what, where is that? And it's like, like you think of Ireland, you think of, you think of Belfast, you think of Dublin, you think of Galway, you think of Cork, Waterford. You'll never think of somewhere that's smack bang in the middle. So that's why I was like, the Heart of Ireland Burlesque Festival, and that's it. And yeah, it was just like that. It was like a little seed that was in my head that I wanted to have this festival that performers could come. And I know that right now at the moment that competitions are a little bit controversial, but it started off as a competition because like that, it's a big undertaking for one person. Now I know it takes a big team for it to work, but I had to get it off the ground. And it's coming from my pocket if it doesn't go well. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, I need to make this work. It has to work. You're running around begging sponsorship off like local pubs and restaurants and hairdressers, and it's like anything you can give me is going to be amazing. But I just said I'd give it a go because like that with COVID, I was like, no, I told myself I was going to do it, and I'll see what happens. And then like that, got like some of the marketing together, got people to help me, got artists to help me with like the logo, all that sort of stuff, and then just put it out there just to see what happens. Just there you go. And
It's
if you
like
want to apply,
be like live and then just through your phone.
yeah, it's like the Memphis motels. They're live. Oh no, there's no turning back now. And yeah, so I just kind of put it out there, and like that, I was not expecting a lot. I wasn't expecting as many applications as I had got. Like literally I was like, you have 10 competing on the Friday, you have 10 competing on the Saturday. So I just need 20 people to apply. That sort of way. It's like this is all I need to apply for it to work. And then all of a sudden you have like over 150 applications coming in. You're like, what's happened? How has this happened? It's like I and then there's the fear of it's not going to be what they think it is because the first Heart of Ireland Burlesque Festival was in the pub, the local bar that I have my show in. Now we did like transform it into like a different looking space, but when you hear festival, you think big things. You're thinking big lights, big stages, and I was like, but in my brain, I was like, kind of the way I approached my show years ago when I decided I was going to perform. It's like start small, aim big. Don't start big and then leave yourself in debt and then you'll never go back to it. So yeah, we had the first year and I just was like overwhelmed with how well it went. And then like that, the feedback that I got from like the audience, the crew that was there, the people that were competing. I like to say the people that are performing because I know there's like a tiara and sash and stuff like that, but I just want to have a stage and a really welcoming space for people to kind of feel like a little family. And that's kind of what I wanted to do to kind of show that like even a small little town without all the big high-rise buildings can put on a really cool festival and kind of show, what the town is like. And then like that, the more I got into doing some research for the festival, how the festival would be, is kind of how I actually got into a lot of like my own like Irish history and kind of going back, like taking steps back and like, looking at the folklore and, looking at the history of my town and kind of learning to love it all just a little bit more because growing up is just something, it was nearly kind of brushed over. It's like, even with the Irish language, it's like, yeah, you don't need to know that. You don't need to know this. You're going to want to get out of here someday, small town girl. But yeah, it was just to have somewhere for people to come. And I was like, I always have this thing of why not a small town? Why can't a small town do it? Why does it always have to be big cities? And here, I love the big city festivals, don't get me wrong, but this is where I'm from and this is where I'm going to make it work.
I think you've done what you set out to do. You have created a really welcoming environment. You take care of your performers. It is a place people wouldn't normally go, but it is a lovely town. As I said, like I went a year and a bit ago, 2024.
Yeah.
So I think the reputation of being a good festival is like well deserved.
Oh, thank you very much. Because there is such a big fear, like there is such a big fear of just wanting to get it right. But like, I mean, we're also in a world where like people can't make mistakes. You have to be perfect from the second you do everything. Everything has to be perfect from the get-go. And it's like there is no space for people to learn. Although like that is only my impression. But my response to that is fuck right off. Everything is a learning curve. And every show, every festival that happens, it's like, you might have like a really bad experience with one festival and somebody else is at the same festival could have the most amazing time.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that there's some mistakes that, shouldn't be like, seen to or whatever, but it's like my festival is very much still a baby. Like we've had year three, we're going into year four, the applications are open now. And like I'm still learning, and there's a lot to learn when you're running a festival and what works, what doesn't work, what you can add on, and what needs to go, like even like the competition element, as I said, it's a bit controversial now, but just because that is the topic of conversation right now and people are like, oh, you shouldn't be having competitions, like, we shouldn't be competing against each other. It's like I know that there's people that want to compete for the tiara that has been there for the last 3 years and the sashes and they want to have that experience. So I'm like, if people want to have that experience, I'm not just going to yank it out from underneath them. It's like I will have 2025 or 2026. We'll see how it goes. And like that, if the competition element is something that is like just a bit like outdated or people feel like they just don't want to apply because of it, it might be something that I look at, but it's not necessarily like I wouldn't necessarily say, oh, I'm going to pull it now because this is what people are talking about and I should be nervous about that. I'm like, no, it's like I'm very much the kind of person that it's like if it feels right to me, like this is my festival. And if it feels right to me, I'm going to leave it in. If I've had people message me being like, I didn't get in this year, but I'm going to apply next year, or I'm really looking forward to your festival, like like wanting to like have those little titles, those tiaras, those sashes, like they may not mean something to somebody else, but to somebody else, they want to come and they want the chance to win it, but also I'm also like, well, don't make it just about that. It's like, as you know, it's like I want to offer like a really nice experience, like a really nice experience backstage, even like the whole weekend of the festival, just making it something that like we're all together. And like that, who doesn't like to win something sparkly at the end of it? And if you don't, everybody gets a medal, So I try to be as fair as I can.
I still got my little memory box that I got from you, and
Yeah.
it's got all of my pasties from all of my festivals that I've done in it.
Oh, brilliant. I love that you still have it.
You still have it. I also have, oh, it's fallen off my desk. I've got my sparkly pumpkin you gave me as well. It sits on my desk normally. I think one of the cats have knocked it down because it's normally like there. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I everyone has opinions about competition. Some people love them, some people hate them. If you don't want to do it, don't enter. It's kind of my opinion. But that's what you offer and that's fine. Like I've done festivals that have both. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just
It's
there to
like,
have a good honestly, I'm there to have a good time when I go to a festival.
yeah, exactly. I mean, like I've entered into festivals before and gotten into festivals and not even knowing that there was a competition element.
Yeah, that's happened.
And I just go and I perform and I enjoy myself. And then it's like, oh yeah, and you're gonna win this. And I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't even know that this was a competition, but okay, do you know.
That
But yeah, I
us
go
talking
ahead.
about this probably leads quite nicely into my next question, which is what are some of the challenges do you think that the scene is currently facing?
Oh, how far can I go? I know I'm messing. How far can I go into that? Spill the tea. I know. Obviously, like we're facing, like I suppose, the economy at the moment and just how it is for everybody. It's when you're producing a show and you're trying to sell tickets, it's like people, which I mean is totally understandable, where you have audience members who like are going to your show but are not able to buy tickets until like the week of or something. And as a producer, you're deciding on the Wednesday as to are you going to pull the show or not, because of ticket sales. But yeah, I feel like just with like I suppose it's just the cost of living is so hard now, that it's just you have to be a little bit more patient when it comes to your shows to be kind of like, will I pull it or will I not? Um, but like I feel like that's one thing that we're kind of facing at the moment. Censorship, obviously. It's getting very hard to promote. Like you put up a video that like a performer on a pole or a performer in their pasties or their tassels, and it's getting flagged and it's getting taken down and you're being shadow banned. So it's actually getting harder to promote more online than what like it used to be. Like I've gone back to like printing posters and just like
I've heard a
going
lot of
uptown with
people.
my little backpack and put my posters up, and there you go. And because like that, you don't know what reach you have online. It's like, all the likes you're getting are from your friends, and like burlesque friends that are scattered around the world that are not going to be at the show.
Like, thanks for the
um,
support, but also you're not buying a ticket, babe. So
yeah, you're not buying a ticket, but if you're not, could you share it? Yeah, I feel like that. Yeah, that's kind of one of the challenges. But then, like that before COVID, when I used to have my shows, I never knew how many people were coming, because it wasn't sold. The tickets weren't sold online. Everything was at the door. So, you would be sitting there 5 minutes before the show going, please say there's a queue. Please say there's a queue. Um, but like I'd always have like obviously I'd always have like a little pool there of money that like I can obviously pay my performers to make sure that the show goes ahead and that they still get paid. That's very important.
So many challenges just now, it's so difficult. I also think the cost of living thing, we don't
Mm,
think about that for performers as well. There's not as much money to put into our costumes. There's not as much like you're having to save to buy the fancy piece or the nice rhinestones or the boa or whatever. Like that's impacting it as well.
yeah, yeah. It's like every like I suppose like it is a good thing, I suppose, but like like the standard of burlesque is like the bar is so high now, like even when I'm watching like the applications for my festival and I watch all the applications, and if somebody sends in two acts, I'll watch the two acts, and if somebody sends in one, I'll watch it. The way I look at it is people are sending in their work. The least you could do is actually
Watch
watch
it.
them all.
Yeah.
And I'll watch them all and I'll sit there going, I should probably consider retiring. It is one way for you to be like, I probably need to save a bit and get a new costume. You all these lovely boas, and you're just like, I can't afford it. I just can't.
That also, you're segueing me into all my questions today. It's great. What you've been doing this for what, 9, 10 years? Obviously, we've talked about how there's been a difference from COVID,
Hmm.
but what do you think some of the biggest differences in terms of like performers and performances that you've seen in that time?
Like I mean, coming out of COVID, I suppose it was a good thing. We had a lot of people kind of find their way into burlesque during that time. So coming out of COVID, there was like a lot of newcomers, which you know, I think it's great. I'm like the more of us, the better because there's more to like share around, and it's like especially in Ireland because like burlesque is like still such a baby in Ireland. It's like it was doing so well before COVID, and then it just so many shows just stopped running. And then like you have the issues with like venues before will be like, "Ooh, come do your show here," and now it's like, well, if you're going to do it, it's your ticket sales, and you get no backup technically from like venues and stuff, so it makes it kind of harder to do it. But yeah, you just had like this surge of like newcomers, which was absolutely amazing. And like a lot of people kind of retired as well after COVID. Like a lot of performers I would have known had retired, and then there was like all these new faces, and then obviously being a producer, you get to meet these people and performing as well. Like I get to meet like people while I was performing, but like the standard has absolutely skyrocketed. It's just it's insane. Like, like I know like you've spoken to like Daria Decollette, she's been on your podcast. And like Daria just came out of nowhere. She was just like she just came out of nowhere and she's like fantastic. And you have like the likes of Bonnie Boo and you have Bella Curve. I'm trying to think of everybody now and I'll get overwhelmed if I forget anybody, but performers, all the fabulous performers. Just it kind of came out of lockdown and like that. It's just um that's really good in one sense, but I feel like performers, and I don't know, maybe it's just me that feels that way, but I feel like we're just being overwhelmed by the fact that we feel like we need to be doing something all the time. It's like, I mean, I get to perform, and look, like luckily enough, I get to perform kind of, I suppose, regularly enough for Ireland's kind of shows, like because they're always like kind of well spaced. Um, but I'm after losing my train of thought there.
Don't need
We'll end it.
to always be doing something, always being busy, always be performing.
Yeah. So we have this thing that we always feel like we have to be performing, and we always have to be filming like content or getting that new act out or getting that new prop, or trying to like get to an act before somebody else does it, or like a type of costume before somebody else has it, and trying to have the new shiny thing all the time. And then like fucking TikTok. I just And look, I'm old, okay, I get it. I'm old, but I just like I'm already like I'm literally just like I'm only after getting used to Instagram, and now I have to try and get used to something else. And now you're telling me I need to put reels up because like reels get more attention than like a still photo, and trying to understand the algorithm and all this sort of stuff just to kind of get yourself out there. And I feel that we panic a lot about that. And I feel like as a performer as well, it's like you always have that thing of I need to do a new act. I need to do a new act. And like I mean, I haven't had a new act in years because the producing side of things kind of just it kind of got in there. And then I kind of thought to myself, maybe I should like get a new act together. And then my brain was like, well, what about that festival you wanted to do? And I'm like, okay, I'll do that now, you know? But I've had like one act, and it's like a white dress with like blood rhinestones down the front of it. It's called Bloodlust.
I've
And I
seen
have
that one.
been
It's
doing
so
that. Like I've been doing that act for like 7 years. 7 years I've been doing that act. And only recent no, I have other acts, but only recently I did an act that I just kind of put together. I had like a different act in mind, and I was like working on this other act, and I had like this red sparkly dress, and like I was practicing ways of like taking it off. And when I turned it like around like this and I had it in front of me, it reminded me of the bad magicians on TikTok, and they do the Celine Dion song, right? And when I did it, it just popped into my head, and I was like, I could hardly perform to Celine Dion because I'm like, I'm not like a performer that would like do like comedy in that sense or perform to Celine Dion or, that sort of thing. And I was like, fuck it, I'll give it a go and see what happens. And I did it like opening one of my shows, and the audience absolutely loved it. And it was the first time I was ever like, fuck it, I'll see what happens, because you know yourself, you always take yourself too fucking seriously all the fucking time. And you're just like, it's like, oh, it needs to be this and it needs to be that. It fucking doesn't. Just go out and give it a go. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like comedians don't get their special on Netflix by fucking, not getting up and not doing it. It's like just give it a whirl, and if it's bad, it's bad. And if it doesn't, if it doesn't go well and it falls flat, then it just move on and do something else. It's like,
sometimes the best thing can come out of it. I was dancing to a live band at the start of this month,
yeah.
and the song was Creep by Radiohead. And I was like, I'm going to come out long velvet, like cocoon coat. It's all like everything underneath
Mm.
like gold and sparkly, very 1920s. And I've got like my fans. And I literally acted like a creep. Like I was sneaking
Yes,
over the top of the fans like this, and then I was running up to people like that. And it was all improv. And it was
yes, yeah,
fucking hilarious. And it worked so well.
yeah. I mean, but that's it. It's like I did a workshop there a few months ago, and the workshop that I did, there was a song that was being played during the workshop, and I just fell in love with it. And I was like, I really, really like this song. And like I did the workshop, I would never use somebody's choreograph that they would teach me in a workshop, but I did reach out to the performer, and I did say to him, I was like, look, I don't know what it is, I said, but that song will not leave me alone. And would it be okay if I tried an act using that song? I don't know if you actually use it for, a performance on stage. She was amazing. She was like, no, I don't use it. You go for it. It's like, when you hear that song and already you see it on stage and you see the costume and you see how your hair and your makeup is going to be done and the setting that you want. And I was like, I hadn't had that in such a long time.
Yeah.
And so that was the one I was working on, and then ended up with the Celine Dion act. So I'm back working on that one now.
You know, I see the Slindy on it. Well, and then you've just said that you are not normally a typically like comedy, silly Celine Dion.
Yeah.
What is your kind of signature style then? How would you sort of describe yourself as a performer?
Like I do, like obviously I love like the classic side of burlesque. I love that like showgirl look. Like obviously when I started and I was like a baby burlesquer, I was very much like the kind of jazz hands, let's give it a go. But smiling on stage does not suit me at all. I am not messing when I say I have performed a few times with like the acts that I would have done when I first started out and where I'd be smiling on stage. my face starts twitching. It's like my face starts twitching. It's like, what are you doing? Like, I mean, I'm not like a resting bitch face all the time, but that was when I discovered that like just being dominating on stage is what I want to do and how I want to be on stage. It's like that thing of like being fully in control of being on stage. I mean, I can be cheeky here and there, but I do mainly prefer to just stare people down. And like I'd be very like kind of slow, kind of sensual. Like I have no dance background, um, no like drama or those classes, or like I sang in a choir many moons ago. But like I mean like very young, like in a choir. But that was like the height of kind of what I had done. But I've always been like very much in tune with music, very much into my music. So and then kind of like finding burlesque, and all of a sudden every song is a potential act. Do you know that sort of way? So yeah, it's like I felt like I had to be the, like that like kind of like upbeat tempo, like super sparkly like showgirl, and I felt like I had to be like that, and it's just not how I felt. It's not, it didn't work for me when I was on stage, and I just felt that the slower kind of routine just suited me better. Number one, I feel less pressured to have like actual like choreographed like acts. I mean, obviously I know where I'm taking off my pieces of clothing, and I know, or my piece of costume, and I know where those beats are, but in between then there's room to like improvise and kind of take my time and kind of lure the audience in a little bit more, because you know yourself, like sometimes they need it a little bit more, and you're kind of like, watch me, watch what I'm doing. Yeah, or here. So yeah, I'd be like kind of like slow, somber type of performer, a little bit domineering, but like I'm pretty sure that's just come from like, the way they say like, oh, you're your true self when you're on stage. It's like your alter ego is like is who you want to be like walking around, and it's not that I want to have resting bitch face all the time. But I do like that sense of like control when I'm on stage. I do like having that when I take my glove off is when I say I'm going to take my glove off, and what I show you is what I want to show you, and I will take my time, but you will also pay attention to me while I'm on stage.
Me and you will applaud. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So, over that time then that you've been performing and you've been doing your slow smoothies, what are some
Mm.
of your kind of career highlights?
Uh, Probably should have thought about that one. But career highlights. I'm the type of person, as I said, I kind of still have that imposter syndrome, and I do have that thing where like people are like, "Oh, what are you doing with yourself?" And you're kind of like, "Oh, yeah, I'm just working, and that's it." And you're kind of like, you know, idiot, you produce a fucking show, like you produce two shows and you produce a festival. What's wrong with you? Like, don't be afraid to boast a little bit about yourself. But it is that Catholic guilt of being like, have I actually achieved anything in my life? But I think one of them was um I applied for the Galway Burlesque Festival years back, like that baby Memphis. And I applied and I did an act. It was in the newcomer section or night, and I did an act called Rise and Repeal, and it was for repealing the Eighth Amendment here in Ireland for like women to have rights to their own body, and to make abortion legal in Ireland. And I had done an act for that, and it won. Like it won like best newcomer, like Rising Star of the West. And Lucifer was actually a judge at that, and I was such a fangirl, still such a fangirl. And I was such a fangirl, and I was like, oh my God, Lou is here, that sort of way. You're just like, but yeah, like I had done that act, and like that, you're like, oh, thanks for the title and my sash, and that's great. But when I watched it back, I was kind of like, I don't know. I was kind of, oh, I can actually tell a story when I'm on stage. Like, I can do this, and like that. Now it was more of a slow and emotional kind of act rather than like, oh, the tease and all that. But like I've kind of retired it now because the song that I use is probably a bit controversial now because It's like the sound of silence, but it's the disturbed version. So yeah, so I'm not going to give that fucking prick any airtime. So yeah, that's one. I suppose being on the Miss Burlesque Ireland stage, I suppose that kind of kicked off everything. Um, and then like kind of I suppose kind of what I've done, like producing my own show, getting that off the ground in like such a small town, and then the newest achievement is having my festival now and seeing how much that's grown, how fast. I mean, it scares the shit out of me. It really does. Like, it scares the shit out of me. I'm just like, oh no, what are you doing? Stop. But like the performers that have um just been even interested in the festival, like performers like yourself, like even when you applied, I was like, oh my God. Do you know what I mean? Because I'd seen you, like we all stalk each other, okay? We all stalk each
Well, yeah,
other.
we did.
We do, we really do. And it's like, we're all like, I'm such a fangirl for everybody. I'm always like, I just want everybody to do well. And, it's like, when you see performers being interested in something that you've created and then, like that, like hearing feedback from yourself and other performers they were like, it was really nice. And it was such a lovely atmosphere and the town is so nice. And I just love that people are coming to my town that would have never stepped foot in it. And then like having the opportunity to work with like so many amazing people and like working with headliners that I never thought that I'd ever meet, like even like myself and Lucifer were saying such a like a full circle moment for like me of being judged by Lou and then years later we're like judging at the Belfast Burlesque Festival together and then he's headlining my festival and it's like my mind is blown. If you had told this to baby Memphis, she would have been like, yeah, you're making it up, like, go fuck yourself. So I think, yeah, I mean, it is the festival, like, it is, it's the one that I am probably like the proudest of, and hopefully it'll keep going, that sort of way. I mean, like, it's going ahead next year.
Applications are out, gang. I've had a few people, we'll do that thing where you see a festival and you'll message someone that's done it to be like, is this festival like okay? Is this
Yeah,
acceptable? Are we okay with this one? Like, I've definitely seen, because I've done like America and Canada so much and I have those connections, I've definitely had a few people from there message me and ask specifically about Heart of Ireland. Like,
yeah.
it is, people are hearing about it and like, that's amazing. Because again,
And
how
here's
many
the
of
shit
these
out of me.
people? And obviously, I'm like, yes, apply. But like, I can see why it's going to show you, but it's amazing. Like, you're putting Athlone on the map, babe.
Yeah, there is that as well. Like, it's like, welcome to my little town. But it's like, like that's even like I've tried my best to like include as like many people like in the town as I can into the festival, like sponsors and like I mean the town has been so good with like helping me out and
Yeah.
because like I mean you can apply for grants and all that. They're never going to give you the full money. And a lot, like my festival is like mainly ran off sponsorship that I get from local businesses in this town. And then by the end of it all, like there's, like any producer, it's like, it is the dream to break even. But like, a lot of the time it comes from my own pocket, but I love it so much. I'm like, it's okay. I don't mind doing this. This is something that I love a lot. And I don't mind, like putting the money into it and making sure performers are paid and making sure that they had a good time because like that it does have a knock-on effect. And like you said, it's like, you would have had people asking you. I've seen it like from the first year, I can nearly put like a little family tree together of like the performers who've been at it, and then that branches out into the performers that they know that applied, that like got in, and then so on and so forth. You can literally see how it like maps its way down and works. And it's lovely. And I'm just, I do like after each festival, I try and sit down, I try and watch like any of the recordings and kind of take it all in and be like, you did that. Now I know I have my crew and I love my crew very much. I really, really do. But from February up until September, it's me. So, and I do have people who I trust a lot that helps me with the applications, because like that the applications can get very like overwhelming, because like, people think it's easy. It's not easy. And it's like like when I look at the applications, it's like I want everybody to be there. I want everybody to be on the stage. I don't want people feeling like they're sending me their work to be judged, because, even though it's competition, and, but it's not like judgment in the sense of, I sit there and being like, who do they think they are applying for this? It's like I genuinely want to have everybody there, and it's really hard. So I have to get out of my own head, and I have to let people in to help me. Like I said, it's my baby, so I do be very nervous, and I'm like, okay, well, this is what I have it down to now. So you have a look now and you see. It's like, but yeah, it's like that would be my proudest moment yet.
So obviously you've 2026, Jesus Christ, the Heart of Ireland. What other wonderful plans or goals do you have for the future, just in general?
Ooh, for the future, the future, me looking into the future is scary. I know. I am definitely, I'm having, like you were even saying it, and I know a lot of people have been saying it. It's just been one of those years of like curveballs been thrown at every minute. And every time I think I'm going to have some time to myself to kind of have like, more studio time and more time for me and more time for me to do acts and apply for festivals. And, because I'd love to do festivals, I'd love to be off on planes and performing places. But life just kind of gets in the way. I have to work full time, and then I do this on the side, and um like try my best to have a stage there that performers want to be on, and hope that that keeps going. But I'm also like, like every performer, we all kind of have our own thing, like each year, what we're dealing with. Like, and unfortunately, mine this year is very much that thing that's in my head of, you're getting older now. People aren't going to want to book you. If you're going to do something, you're going to need to do it soon, which this was what I said to myself like nearly 10 years ago. It's like, no one's going to want you because you're too old. And I have that thing in me now. It's like, if I'm going to do it, I like need to have like, a 3 or 4 year plan of what I'm going to do for myself performer wise. I know that the producing I'll do for as long as I can. Do you know, I will definitely do that for as long as I can. But I have that thing now where I'm just like, everything is changing for me. I'm changing. Fucking premenopause has decided to fucking raise its head, and nobody's talking about that. Why aren't they talking about it? It's like I've already been the insecure fucking teenager. Then I've been the 20-year-old fearing fucking death. Then I was the 30-year-old fearing about being 40, and now I'm 40 and it's premenopause. What the fuck has happened? So I'm just trying to hold on every year. That's it.
Honestly, fair.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I know, but honestly, I am going to perform for as long as I can. I do have those plans, but I am very much kind of focusing on the festival a lot more, and how I can just like tie like more of like the town into it. Like we actually got sidetracked there. I was meant to say like that's why I have like the Viking cruise and at the festival, because like it's a staple thing of like Athlone, because it's great. But yeah, I want to work more on the festival and try and get it up to the level that I have it in my head. Like it's way past what I thought it was going to be in like year three. I thought in year three, I didn't think it would even happen. I was like, maybe like the first year might do okay. Second year we might be all right, but there might not be a third year. But each year I'm seeing it just do like it's getting better and it's getting better. And it's like, as I said, the first year was, that scared me. And each year it scares me more, especially when you start seeing the applications coming in, and you're seeing the people who are applying for your festival, and how many performers are like just kind of laying their work on the table for you to look at. And it's kind of like, oh my God. And I suppose my plan now is to just keep learning, because people are allowed to make mistakes. Keep learning, keep learning, and just try and make the festival like bigger and better. It's like that's just what I want to do. I just wanted to offer more for performers coming to it, for the audience that's coming to it, for the business that it'll give the town. Yeah, and just be one of those festivals that people like, it's a highlight on their calendar that they want to be at it,
Just so, because when we'll put this out, when do your applications for the festival close?
The applications are closed the last weekend in February.
Cool.
Um, they might close earlier. It depends on kind of like the amount of applications that I get. I don't like having a cut-off point. I haven't done it for like the last 3 years. I haven't had like I've had the end date and I haven't closed it beforehand. But unfortunately, then that lets in like a lot of applications that I then now have to go through and give every performer the same time as the performer that I watched before them. And like that's really important to me that like, I sit down and I take in what this performer has sent me, and like, view their work and like that. I hate telling people that they have not got in because, I'm not judge and jury, that sort of way, but it's just, so if it gets to a stage where I feel like it's going to be too much, because it's my own time. So it's like it's time that I take out in the evening and out of my own life and out of my own like full-time job, that if I feel like it might get too much, it may close earlier. If it is, there'll be loads of notice to let people know that I'll be closing it early. But I think we'll be all right. I know me, I'll be like, it'll be fine.
You get this massive pile of apple, you'll be like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can let in some more, that's fine.
Just like Clockwork Orange with like, the just my eyes held open.
Amazing. Well, where can all our lovely watchers and listeners follow you online and see all these wonderful things?
Yeah, well, I suppose you can follow me online. You can follow me on my Miss Memphis Shell page. That's my performer, producer, and I suppose shows page as well. Everything goes on that. You can see my dogs on it too. So it's Miss underscore Memphis Shell. Then we have the Heart of Ireland Burlesque Festival page, and then my show that I produce is Only After Dark, and that's on Instagram as well. You can find me on Facebook, but I'm kind of more active on Instagram. I am on TikTok, but don't expect a lot. I'm old.
Can I tell you how many performers have finished this part of the interview where they're like, TikTok exists, but
Yeah,
I swear to God.
it's so much work. I'm like, I'll pick a picture, I'll put a filter on it and a song. There you go. That's probably what you're going to get from me, like, to be honest. It's like even if you follow them, you're going to see how bad I am at TikTok and how much I do not keep up with TikTok. I mean, I should probably get like someone who can do it for me and just be like, can you just look after them? And, can you just look after them and make it look like I know what I'm doing?
If you find someone, let me know because
Yeah.
I can do my socials, but it takes so much time. Um, Amazing. Thank you so much for spending time with me and so that we could chat all about your festival and EU. It was lovely to have you, and hopefully we will actually hang out in person soon. That would be cute.
I know that would be amazing. Thank you so much for listening to me waffle on. Thank
Love
you
it.
so much for having me, though.
No, thank you so much, my lovely. I'll catch you later.
See you later. Bye.